Hey everyone, it's me Bailey and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be my October wrap up. So in October, I ended up reading 6 books, which I cannot remember the last time I only read 6 books in a month, but I did have a super busy month, a very travel heavy month, so I did not get a whole lot of reading done, and that is completely fine. I was able to read a little bit and I'm okay with only reading 6 books in a month. I don't see myself as any less of a reader if I'm not reading 15 to 20 books in a month. 6 is perfectly fine. I'm just happy that I read something. But in this video, I'm going to be talking about the 6 books that I did end up reading in the month of October. This video is going to be just an old-fashioned sit-down video and not like a wrap-up vlog like I have been doing, since I did only read 6 books this month. So the first book that I read in the month of October was Wrecked by Lauren Asher. This is a sports romance that follows Jax and Elena, and Jax is sort of the bad boy of F1 racing, and Elena has been tasked to pretty much be his babysitter and keep him in line to make sure that he stays on track during his racing season. And I ended up giving this 3.5 stars. This is the 3rd book in the Dirty Air series. It is a part of a companion series. If you have never heard of this series, it's a companion series about F1 racers, and I want to say this is probably my least favorite in the series so far. I think Throttled is still probably my favorite out of all of the Dirty Air series that I've read so far, but there is still one more book in the series that I'm hoping to get to pretty soon. But overall, I really enjoyed this and would recommend it. The second book that I ended up picking up in October was Riven KN by Devney Perry. This is the second book in the Clifton Forge series, which again is a companion series, and this followed Genevieve, whose mother was murdered in the first book, and she comes back to this town after her mother's murder, and some things happened in the first book that lead into the events of the second book. And it also follows Isaiah, who is a former prisoner who is working in this car shop with some former bikers, and it's really hard to kind of get into the plot of this without spoiling the first one, because even though this is a companion novel, it definitely relies very heavily on the events of what happened in the first book. But this is a marriage of convenience story, and I enjoyed it for the most part. I gave it 3 stars. It was a fun time, and I definitely do see myself continuing on with the next book in the series. I just really enjoyed Devney Perry's writing because it's so easy to get into and so fast-paced. And even if this story wasn't exactly a hit for me, I just love Devney Perry's writing and will continue to read everything that she writes. The next book that I ended up reading was Crush by Tracy Wolff. This is the 2nd book in the Crave series. This is a young adult fantasy novel, and this book follows our main girl, Grace, and she has been sent to live with her uncle who runs this school for paranormals. And this book takes off where the first one ends and is following Grace through her time at school. And yeah, there's a lot of drama and just fun stuff in this book. I've been having such a good time reading this series, and honestly, like, I'm hooked at this point. And if you have not read the series and you're looking for a fun story that kind of gives like Twilight vibes but for the new age, I guess I would recommend this for you. It's such a fun read and I would recommend it. It's a very thick book, but honestly, this second one was just, it was so good. The next book that I ended up reading was Hopeless by Elsie Silver, and this was the final book in the Chestnut Springs series. I ended up rating this book 4 stars. This was Beau and Bailey's story, and I really enjoyed it. I really liked Beau, and I loved his character arc and him and Bailey's dynamic, and I just really enjoyed the series. I really enjoyed the book. I just really had a good time reading the Chestnut Springs series, and I'm so sad that it's over, but I am excited to read more from Elsie Silver in the future. The next book that I ended up reading was Madam by Sarah Kate, and this was the 6th book in the Salacious Players Club series, and I ended up rating this book 3 stars. So this followed Eden, who we have seen glimpses of in the past books, and it is like a female male story. So it is like a throuple, so there is 3 main characters who are forming a relationship while exploring themselves in the club. And like I said, I ended up rating it 3 stars. This one was okay to me. I felt like things were not very like fleshed out very well in my personal opinion, and I felt like everything was just really fast, especially when it came to like Eden and Jade's relationship, especially considering Eden and Clay had already established a relationship in the past, and Clay and Jade were in a relationship, so they already had a relationship established. I just felt like the relationship between Jade and Eden was just a little fast. And I know that, you know, there are parts of the stories that had, you know, Jade and Eden together, but I just felt like their romance just happened really fast, and that is part of the reason that I did end up rating it the way that I did. And the 6th and final book that I read in the month of October was Covet by Tracy Wolff. This is the 3rd book in the Crave series, and I ended up giving this one 3.5 stars. I enjoyed this one, just not as much as the second one. I've heard that this has probably been people's least favorite in the series, at least at this point where I'm at, but I did have a good time reading this one. It was interesting. There were a lot of things that I didn't see coming in this book, but it definitely left off from where the second one ended, and overall this was just a really good time, and I would highly recommend this series. But those are all the books that I read in the month of October. I would love to know in the comments any of the books that you read in October, or if you read any of the same ones that I read, and what you thought on the ones that you read or any of these ones that I've read. And yeah, so that's gonna be all for today's video. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content from me. I will have all of my social medias linked in the description, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.